Welcome to this webinar dedicated to food lovers. We will discover the new ways to consume food. This presentation will be done by myself, Alida Drago, Product Line Manager at Ingredia, and Lea Mayer, Cheese Specialist at Ingredia. So today we'll focus on the cheese market figures, on trends and consumer expectations, on how Ingredia is expert in cheese, and we'll present few innovative concepts. So first, the cheese market. Let's have a look at the global cheese consumption in 2020. So the global cheese consumption was 17 million tons in 2020. For the retail market, the consumption is 13 million tons. And for the food service, the consumption was 4 million tons. Compared to 2019, we can see that the retail market increased of 4% and the food service market decreased of 28% due to the sanitary crisis. The market in value is 132 billion USD in 2020. So let's have a look at the evolution over 20 years, between 2006 and 2025. We see that the average annual growth is 2% per year for worldwide consumption. In Western Europe, we can see that the market increased only of 1%, whereas in Asia, the market over 20 years increases of 3.5%. We can see also that the global consumption share is dropping from 40% to 35% in Western Europe over those 20 years, and the global cheese consumption share is increasing in Asia from 4% to 5% of the global consumption. Let's have a look at the worldwide cheese consumption per cheese category. So we have four main cheese categories: the hard cheese and soft cheese categories for traditional cheese process, and the processed cheese category split in spreadable processed cheese and hard processed cheese. So as you know, processed cheese is made from traditional cheese and other ingredients like vegetable fat mixed with emulsifiers. So we can see that the main categories in terms of consumption in the world are traditional cheese, with almost 80% of the global cheese consumption in the world. We can also see the consumption evolution for the last 3 years, and we can see that the fastest growing category is soft cheese with a rise of 3%. So now this is the global cheese consumption per regions. So we see that Western Europe is the main region for cheese consumption with 36% of the global consumption. Then North America with 18%, and for instance, Asia Pacific represents only 4% of the global cheese consumption, but Asia Pacific is the fastest growing region with plus 6% of annual growth for the last 3 years. So in this slide, it's interesting to see that worldwide cheese category split is different per area. So indeed, we see that in Western region, the main categories are traditional food categories, hard cheese and soft cheese. We see also that spreadable processed cheese is especially prevalent in the Middle East. And in Asia, we see that the market is more driven by processed cheese, which is an emerging market with new ways of cheese consumption like sweet and flavor cheese. So now we'll start with the trends and consumer expectation on the cheese market. So first, I wanted to show as per Mintel, the 3 mega trends for global food and drink. The first mega trends as per Mintel in 2021 is feed the mind, which means that companies can enhance experiences of the consumers. They can encourage healthy eating and offer moments of comfort. So food will more have a psychological approach with buzzwords like mindful or nutrient dense. The second megatrend is quality redefined. So now consumers are focusing on minimal consumption. They want convenience food because they have more and more busy lives, and they want to get the best return from their purchases. So consumers are looking for more transparency about ingredients, processes, and people that are reflected in a product price. The third mega trend is united by food. So here, companies can find common interests and passions to which consumers can tie their identities. And brands can really act as facilitator that helps consumer becoming part of the change they want to see in the world. So now how we can turn those 3 mega trends in cheese opportunities. So first, for feed the mind trends, we can see that there are more and more cheese innovation on naturality, healthy and better for you cheese. It can be high in protein cheese, low in fat cheese, or just natural recipes. Also, companies develop more indulgent and comforting recipes. For the quality redefined trends, brands can highlight the inherent nutritional value of cheese. Indeed, cheese is naturally rich in protein and has a high calcium content. So this is the trend, less but better, consume less but better. We see also that cheese is more and more consumed as a healthy snacking for time saving and on-the-go consumption. So brands can develop small formats. For the United by Food trends, we see that cheese can be eaten as meat substitutes. And also brands can develop new cheese with plant-based ingredients to tap to the flexitarian consumers. We see also a big rise of the vegan cheese, but affordability and taste remain a challenge for this kind of cheese. Then to combine quality redefined and united by food trends, we see that to develop cheese and highlight transparent process and ingredients origin, to develop cheese with local ingredients is an opportunity for the cheese market. And to develop cheese with eco-friendly ingredients and packaging, it's also an opportunity for the cheese innovations. So now let's have a look at a few examples of launches in 2020 on the cheese market. So brands innovate to elevate the better for you image and meet dietary needs. For instance, those 3 products. The first one is a soft cheese with gut-friendly culture launched in the UK. The second one is a skyr, which is high in protein, low in fat, launched in Germany. And the third one was launched in Japan. It's a candy cheese that is fortified with calcium and iron. So those three concepts combine the feed the mind and the quality redefined trends. Now we can see that different formats make cheese a more on-the-go friendly option. We see that cheese is more and more consumed as a healthy snacking. So this is part of the quality redefined trend. We can see two products launched in Asia. The first one launched in China is a cheese cup. So it's a processed cheese to be spread on bread or to be eaten as a dip, which is a strawberry flavored cheese in a cup. And the second one is a cheese string, so easy to eat as a light snack. And it's a truffle flavor string cheese. And then we can see that brands highlight natural attributes and highlight the fact that they use local ingredients, and they can also use cheese as meat substitutes. So those three examples combine the quality redefined and united by food trends. So the first one is spreadable cheese. It highlights the fact that it contains no added phosphates and it contains pure alpine ingredients. The second one is Edam cheese launched in Poland. It highlights the fact that it's formulated with only three ingredients, milk, salt, and cultures. And it highlights also the fact that it's made from milk from a specific region. And the last one is cheese skewers for barbecue. So we can see that it's positioned as a meat replacement for barbecue. So to conclude on these two first parts of the webinar, we see that the worldwide cheese market is in expansion worldwide. That Western Europe remains the main market for cheese consumption, with 36% of the global consumption in 2020. In the Western regions, the main trends are naturality, simple labeling, local ingredients, and better for you formulations. But we see also that on the Western Europe market decreases in profit of the Asian markets, which is knowing the more significant growth in terms of consumption. The main trends on this Eastern market are that cheese helps to meet dietary needs, that cheese is used as a healthy snack, and we can also see a premiumization of cheese with increased know-how on traditional cheese. For instance, the fastest growing category of cheese in Asia is soft cheese with plus 7% of the consumption until 2025. So now I'll start the third part of the webinar, which is on how Ingredia is expert on cheese. So first, who are we? So we are a dairy cooperative called Prospérité Fermière. We are located in the Hauts-de-France, in the north of France. We have more than 1,000 farmers, and we collect more than 400 million liters of milk every year. We have different activity. We have one bottling line to make UHT milk, and we make dairy powders and dairy proteins thanks to our drying towers and filtration lines. We have 456 employees, and we have a turnover of 381 million euros. We are an international company, as we have more than 50% of our turnover abroad. We have sales in more than 90 countries, and we have three sales offices, sorry, one in Asia, USA, and one in Canada. For cheese application, we have a dairy protein range made of native dairy proteins. So we have native total milk proteins, we have native micellar caseins, and we have native whey proteins. We have also a range of unique functional milk proteins for specific functionalities and specific markets. For instance, we have a creamy booster range for high in protein and low in fat applications. We have a texture enhancer for the clean label formulation, and we have a cheese expert range of dairy proteins. So innovation is in our culture is a strategic pillar for us. We have 10% of our staff dedicated to R&D, and 30% of the time of the R&D department is dedicated to customer support. We can support our customers with our pilot plant of 1,000 square meters to make trials. We send over than 1,000 sample requests per year, so it can be dairy protein powder, or finished product samples in various applications. So we can have cheese, yogurt, chocolate, ice cream, and UHT beverage applications. But to focus on cheese, at Ingredia, we have a real know-how on cheese processing with 3 different technologies. The first technology is the traditional process. So we use proteins for traditional cheese to make milk standardization for constant quality, for enrichment to increase the yield. We use protein to have a better stretching and melting properties, mainly for mozzarella application. We use protein for milk recombination, and we use protein to simulate creamy texture, to simulate fat, and to bring creamy texture for light cheese. In processed cheese, we use our dairy protein to formulate clean label recipe and to bring new texture and to improve the process. And for the cheese without whey separation technology, we use specific and functional proteins for this process, which is a simple process to make cheese, and it brings 100% yield, and it's able to avoid whey treatment.
Now I speak about the cheese equipment at Ingredia. In our pilot plant in Arras, France, we have many equipments able to make all types of cheese, fresh cheese, spreadable, wiped cheese, pizza cheese, etc. For traditional cheese, we have all the necessary devices such as rehydration system, pasteurizer, cheese tank, pressing system, or wrapping room. For processed cheese, we have a cutter cooker and a stretcher with a double screw. And for without whey separation technology, we have 2 pieces of equipment according to the type of cheese. For fresh cheese, the process is similar to yogurt with the exception of adding rennet. Also, after acidification, a stronger smoothing step makes it different, a higher pressure. For ripening and pizza cheese, we use the same material as processed cheese. We have 2 different cutter cookers and a stretcher with a double screw. Now I will explain you the without whey separation technology. This is a simple way to turn your cheese yield into 100%. When for traditional cheese 100 kg of milk gives you 10 kg of cheese, The without Whey separation gives you 100 kilograms. You get 100% profitability, no off Whey to treat, no waste. So, as you know, the final composition of cheese at the beginning. Thus, it is easier to adapt recipe to your local needs. This way, you can be more innovative, more confident in your final composition, and limit your risk and time of development. To satisfy market trends, application teams develop cheese concepts. Now I'm going to show you different concepts and which proteins are used to do it. For healthy snacking, I suggest you two concepts, a drinking cheese and a very high protein cream cheese. We develop clean label dairy mousse, cream cheese, and without emulsifying processed cheese. And finally, to promote cheese worldwide, we offer solutions for long shelf life cheese. Here is a healthy snacking concept. With only 3 raw materials, milk, cream, and protein, you can produce a drinking cheese with 10% protein without Whey separation technology. For this, we use ProMilk yolk fluid, which provides a fluid and creamy texture, even if it is a high protein content. We carry out a tasting session to compare drinking cheese to drinking yogurt to help you to see the difference. Here, the composition of drinking yogurt is standard, 10% protein and 1% fat. The difference between cheese and yogurt, in addition to rennet, culture is used. For cheese, it is a mesophilic culture, and for yogurt, it is a thermophilic culture. So, the big difference is the taste. We obtain a high tangy taste with drinking cheese. It is a typical taste of a standard fresh cheese. But if you want a mild flavor, it is better to make a drinking yogurt. For the second healthy snacking concept, I like to show you a cream cheese with twice the amount of protein, 12%, and 2 times less fat, 11%, compared to a standard cream cheese. We use the without Whey separation technology. I suggest the use of 2 proteins for the quark, ProMilk SH20 for texture, and ProMilk yolk cheese for creaminess. Replace fat. After the stabilization of the quark, you obtain a cream cheese with nice spreadable texture and untoasted taste. For the two concepts, we use protein in a creamy booster range. This range is specific for healthy products, high in protein, low fat, and for indulgent products, creamy texture and great mouthfeel. There are 4 proteins in it. The first 3 proteins are very close and differ in fluidity capacities. ProMilk yolk fluid is for fluid products such as drinking cheese. ProMilk 608 to replace fat, good abilities in skyr type. Or ProMilk yolk cheese brings a little more texture, which is better for cheese products. The last one is a ProMilk cheese E55, which gives mouthfeel and helps for the texture of light traditional cheese. The second trend is natural product. Thanks to our new protein, ProMilk Bmax, you can replace hydrocolloid in dairy mousse. We have 3 different concepts: sweet fresh cheese mousse, light spreadable wiped fresh cheese, and wiped cream cheese for dipping. The texture is higher with this protein, so the mousse is stable. With ProMilk Bmax, you can also replace carrageenan and Lagune Bisgum in a standard cream cheese. Here, it is a cream cheese with 73% fat and dry matter. In the first step, production of quark, we suggest using ProMilk SH20, a functional protein created using without Whey separation technology. And in order to stabilize it, we use 2% ProMilk Bmax. For the tasting session, around 12 people were trained to taste cream cheese. You can observe the product with ProMilk Bmax is close to a product with hydrocolloid. The positive point is there is no synersis, so the cream cheese is stable without adding stabilizer. In addition, this protein offered better spreadability and melting in mouth. Promil Bmax is a milk protein isolate enriched in native micellar casein. It has 85% protein on dry matter. It is possible to replace hydrocolloid with Bmax in cheese because it has good water binding capacities and a higher firmness of acidifier gel than standard proteins. These two functionalities are the fundamental principle of stabilizer. Hydrocolloid has a good affinity with water, so it improves texture. Moreover, with emulsifying salt, we have observed superior firmness compared to standard dairy proteins. Customers want a natural product, but processed cheese contains emulsifying salts, an additive. An emulsifying salt is an ion exchanger, which allows the protein to be solubilized and make it emulsifying. Their target is to give greater texture to the product and obtain a homogeneous final product. In order to offer a cleanable processed cheese, Ingredia is currently working on this subject to find solutions. We are looking to replace the functionalities of emulsifying salt with milk protein. It is necessary to adapt the protein used according to the type of processed cheese. For the moment, we have noticed 3 interesting proteins which have good functionality. Promilk cheese B87 with excellent emulsifying capacity, Promilk Bmax with excellent gel strength, and Promilk Yorkshire suitable for texture like spreads. The last one, to consume cheese all around the world, we developed a camembert long shelf life in a can and in a plastic pot. It is a standard camembert with 46% fat on dry matter, without Whey separation technology. For the can, we know the shelf life is 12 months. For the plastic pot, we are still analyzing it, but the minimum shelf life is 6 months at 8 degrees. We have 2 protein specifics for cheese application. Firstly, Promilk SH20 is specific for without Whey separation cheese. It improves the ripening steps and gives a milky taste to final product. In addition, as you put all ingredients at the start of the process, the texture is higher than traditional cheese. But with this protein, you facilitate the filling compared to micellar casein. Secondly, Promilk cheese B87 is a protein for pizza cheese because it has good stretching and melting properties. You can use in pasta filata without Whey separation, in enrichment and recombined milk for traditional mozzarella. Moreover, it is the protein for high enrichment in traditional cheese. Thank you.
So now please ask your questions to our 2 cheese specialists, Léa Mayer and Frank Lagarde. Thank you for your attention. So we are going to answer to the first question, which is the drinking cheese concept is interesting. What is the process?
The process is very simple, is the same as yogurt. The drinking cheese, it's a fresh cheese without Whey separation technology. So the first step is an hydration. Then you do a heat treatment in a pasteurizer. And you decrease the temperature to 27 degrees. It's different to yogurt because it's a mesophilic culture. You add rennet because it's a cheese, and you put 12 hours until pH 4.6 and 4.8. And the step very important, it's the smoothing steps because it's a drinking cheese. So you cut the curd a lot of stronger texture.
Thank you, Leah. The second question is, do you have eco-friendly ingredients? If yes, what are the specifications? So yes, indeed, we have a range of eco-friendly ingredients, which are from a specific milk collect with specification like GMO-free feed cows, guaranteed pasture of minimum 170 days per year. We have a minimum grazing area per cow of 1,500 square meters, and we certified that it's a French origin milk. Moreover, this specific milk collect is traced by a blockchain, which means that it is connected with a web app, and you can see from which farm is coming the milk that you are using. So we have a range of dairy powders, and we have one reference of micellar casein, so one milk protein dedicated to the food industry and for cheese applications. So we have another question, maybe for Leah. For the cheese without whey separation, is there a taste difference versus standard cheese?
The taste is different because it's not a traditional cheese, but you obtain a good cheese taste without whey separation.
Another question, maybe for Leah. How do you press the cheese without whey release?
The concept of the without whey separation, you don't have a separation, so you don't use a press. You put all ingredients at the start, and you obtain 100 percentage a gram of cheese at the end.
Another question, can we have finished product of samples for drinkable cheese?
It is possible to do a sample in our pilot plant. So you can send an email, and you see when it is possible to produce drinking cheese.
Is this product drinking cheese already released in the market? Yes, indeed, we can see, for instance, in China that China launched drinking cheese or cheese in a cup, but it is not enriched in protein. And the concept that we propose today is high in protein drinkable cheese, which is not on the market yet. So it's a really an innovative concept. Another question, how camembert without whey separation tastes like? Is it similar to traditional camembert?
Yes, it is similar to traditional camembert, not a big taste, typical camembert. Not. It is the same than a traditional camembert. In I think 2 months, not more.
Another question for Frank. Hello, it was mentioned that we can replace the emulsifying salts. Does it give the exact same results? And can we fully replace the emulsifying salts or partially replacement?
So we worked a lot on the subject without emulsifying salt, especially about block with cheddar, and the results are really quite similar than a standard processed cheese with emulsifying salts. So currently we are working on spreadable cheese, cream processed cheese with brie. But we don't have whole results now to conclude if the products are similar or not. But we have quite similar too with this kind of product.
Thank you, Frank. Another question for Leah on the without whey separation technology. How do you get the expected dry matter without removing whey?
You can arrive to obtain cheese with the same dry matter than traditional cheese. The promic acid 20 allowed to have a low viscosity during the trials, so it's possible to have the same dry matter than a traditional cheese.
Okay. We have another question for Frank. Is there any correlation between proteins and vegetable fat in spreadable and block processed cheese regarding texture and fat separation?
Good questions. I think about separation. So it's a key point to choose the good and optimal protein to have enough emulsifying properties and avoid this case. So avoid an exudation of fat and to be sure that we have a stable product. And about the texture, yes, I think with there are lots of kind of vegetable fat. We know that, for example, there is hydrogenate vegetable fat, so it brings more and more texture, but to compare with milk fat. But if there is a correlation between protein and kind of fat, I want to say no for the texture.
Another question, do we have any experience in combination of milk ingredients and plant-based ingredients in finished products? So indeed, we are, we see that it's a big trend that is coming on vegetable yogurt or plant-based cheese. And we see also that to combine milk ingredients and plant-based ingredients can be a good option in terms of functionality and on nutritional benefits. And we see that our functional protein can really bring an added value for this kind of formulation. So we are working on few concepts, and we would be pleased to share this with you. So don't hesitate to contact us for more information on this subject. Do you have any more questions? Okay, so for the time now is we are going to end the session. So we are going to follow up with some of the audience to answer specific questions that you still have. So thanks a lot for your participation. We were very pleased to answer those questions, and we'll get back to you directly. So thanks again, and have a good day.